What's up guys, Alex here again, and today I'm bringing you guys a video about followers and how followers work in Diablo 3. So, if we go ahead and look at the three followers that are available to you, you have the Templar, the Scoundrel, and the Enchantress. So, the Templar is a, like a tank person, a tank build. What he does is he can go out there, he can tank for you, take the damage, and while you stay back as like a ranged class and deal the damage. So the Templar is very good for classes like the Demon Hunter, which is what I am, or a Wizard or a Witch Doctor, because the Templar will go out and just take the damage for you. And also he has a healing spell, which will be great for you as a ranged class. In case you do take some damage, you'll be able to heal back up. The Scoundrel is probably the least used class. No one really uses the Scoundrel. If you're a barbarian or a monk, most people just use the Enchantress. I use the Enchantress on my Demon Hunter and Inferno because the Enchantress is definitely the best follower or mercenary. So let me go ahead and show you guys something about the Enchantress and also about all followers around. So when you look here at my Enchantress, you can see that I have all this gear on her that really has a lot of intelligence, except the amulet doesn't have that much intelligence, but 69 intelligence, 69 intelligence, 83 intelligence, 97 intelligence. So all that intelligence gives her 1062 intelligence, which will increase her damage by a lot. And also on followers, for every 1 intelligence, it's multiplied by 2.5. So this 69 intelligence is actually 2.5 times 69 intelligence, which is why with the little amount of intelligence gear she has here, she has 1062 intelligence. Now, if you look at her damage, it's only 550.11, which is odd because she has a 212.8 damage sword, and she has all this intelligence here, the intelligence here, and the intelligence from this, and the extra damage from this. But yet she still only has 550 damage. And the reason is because followers or mercenaries have a kind of negative starting point, and they also have very little scaling. So if you take off these items here with the intelligence, you can see her damage just goes way down. She now has 212.84 damage. So she has very little damage. She only has 390 intelligence now, and she has 212 damage, which is how much her sword does in general. So like really, she has very low damage. But once you put the items back on, I'm putting those on myself. My bad. Once you put the items back on her, you can see that her damage scales by not as much as what it would for your character, but it does scale quite a bit, but it's very little amount of increased damage. So when you're buying stuff for your follower, for whatever follower you use, you want to look for the base stat. So for the Enchantress, you want intelligence, Templar, you want strength, and for Scoundrel, you want dexterity. You want to make sure that your relic has a ton of your base stat. As you can see, mine is 97, so that's 2.5 times that. So if you just say it's 100, that's 250 intelligence right there. So really, you got to make sure that you have a lot of your base stat on your Enchantress or on your follower. Now I'm going to go ahead and talk about why I use the skills that I chose for my Enchantress. So when using the Enchantress, your first skill that you get, you can either choose Charm or Forceful Push. Now Charm makes it to where an enemy fights for you for 4 seconds. Her other ability you can choose is to summon an Arcane Explosion. 8 yards around an enemy, dealing 100% weapon damage, is arcane and knocking back all monsters caught within it. Now, you look at this ability here, this Forceful Push, and it deals 100% weapon damage. Now, 100% of weapon damage is 550 damage. In Inferno, 550 damage is very little, and it's not going to do much at all. And that's why Charm is her best ability that she has, pretty much, because with Charm, it charms an enemy to fight for you, and in Inferno, the monsters deal so much damage that when they get charmed, they'll almost one-hit each other. Usually they 2-hit or 3-hit each other, but some of them can 1-hit each other. And Charm, really good ability. You definitely want to take Charm as your first ability there. Now when it comes to your next two, you have either place a shield on the Enchantress and her allies that reflect incoming projectiles for 5 seconds. That's pretty good. But the other one is the Enchantress buffs herself and her allies, increasing armor by 15%. Attackers are slowed by 30% for 3 seconds. When you look at these two, Reflect Missiles is pretty good for a ranged class like myself, but if you're going to be playing a Barbarian or Monk, you're going to want powered armor. And the Enchantress, the stuff that's on her is based around my Barbarian, so that's why I have powered armor. If you're going to be a ranged class, you're probably going to want Reflect Missiles. The one bad part about Reflect Missiles is you don't choose when she puts it up, and she chooses that, so you really never, it's never like a guaranteed saving ability like what Smokescreen would be for a Demon Hunter. So that's why Powered Armor is a better ability in general, because it's going to give you the extra armor, and Reflect Missiles is just going to come at any time, and you might not even be when you need it. So I take Powered Armor in this situation. You could take Reflect Missiles, but now we're going to move on to the next skill, and that is Disorient, which casts a flash confusing on a group of enemies, causing them to stumble and be around disoriented for 2 seconds. That's kind of like Blinding Flash for the Monk. It just makes it to where they don't know where you are, they don't attack you. So it's pretty much just 2 seconds of being invincible. They don't know where you are, they're not going to attack. You just have 2 seconds of just getting as much damage as you can, or 2 seconds of like running away and saving yourself. I choose Erosion in this situation because it conjures a pool of energy that deals 50% weapon damage as arcane per second. Affected enemies take an additional 15% damage from all attacks for 3 seconds. So if she throws down her Erosion pool, it deals 50% of her weapon damage, which is only 225. So that's not much damage at all. But that is per second, so it's going to get a little bit of damage on them, a little bit more than what Forceful Push would, because Forceful Push just does it at once. This is going to be per second, so it's going to be able to get more damage. And also, it makes it where they take a 15% increased damage. As a Demon Hunter, increased damage is really nice, because 15% increased damage is a lot to a Demon Hunter, because I can attack so fast and get crits so much. That 15% increased damage is really nice to have, because it's really going to help increase my DPS and help kill things in Inferno faster. Now the last skill is Focus Mind, which it makes it toward an aura that increases attack speed by 3% for allies within 40 yards. Or I could have Mass Control, which the Enchantress lobs a bulb of magical energy at the player that will hex all enemies within 8 yards into chickens for 5 seconds. Hexed enemies are unable to perform offensive actions. Now the bad thing about that ability is it lasts 5 seconds, and it only happens every 60 seconds. And you still don't get to control when this happens or anything, so it just happens whenever. And if there's like one, zombie in front of you, like one Risen, and and she uses Mass Control on that, she just wasted that when you could have had 3% increased attack speed, which 3% increased attack speed increases your DPS, which will increase how quick you can kill mobs. And that's why Focus Mind is a better skill than Mass Control any day. So these are the skills I take for my Enchantress, and I'm not going to show you my Templar or Scoundrel skills, because I don't really use the Templar or Scoundrel. Most people are going to tell you Enchantress is the best, and she is the best. You can get good gear for the Enchantress for very cheap. Just go buy some rings and an amulet with a lot of intelligence. Get a Templar relic with a lot of intelligence, and look for a sword or something that an Enchantress could use with high intelligence. And also, you're going to want, with 2.7% of damage it does converted to life, it's really not that helpful, because she's going to spawn back in no time, and 2.7% of damage dealt, she only deals 550 damage, so 2.7% of that is a very little amount. So you don't need to look for that stat. It was just kind of there. Like, you can get her a magic item and that'll be okay. You don't need a rare. You just need high intelligence, and the higher damage the better. So pretty much that's going to be it for this video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'd like to thank everyone for watching, and have a great day, guys. Peace.